The lunch crowd was thinning at Rosie's diner, but the tension inside still crackled like static in the air. Cracked vinyl booths, greasy checkerboard floors, and the smell of burnt bacon formed the world that 24-year-old Anna Whitaker called her workplace for the last 2 years. She wasn't a waitress by choice, life had made that decision for her. Her dream of studying social work was put on indefinite hold after her mother's cancer diagnosis and her younger brother's school bills began to pile up. Anna was used to swallowing her pride. Each coffee refill she served, each curt command from the manager she obeyed, every $2 tip she smiled through, chipped away at her spirit. But she never let it show. She moved like sunshine, soft, bright, and warm, even on the days when her own stomach growled louder than the sizzling skillet in the kitchen. That Tuesday afternoon, she had only eaten a granola bar since the morning. She couldn't afford lunch for herself, but she never let it stop her from giving kindness to others. That's why, when a small, fragile voice whispered, "Excuse me, ma'am, do you have any leftovers?" her heart broke open. Anna looked down to see a little boy, no older than 6, standing by the counter. His cheeks were hollow, his shirt was 2 sizes too big, and his fingers nervously played with the frayed edge of his coat. "I'm sorry, sweetheart, where's your mommy or daddy?" Anna bent down to his level, her voice gentle. The boy pointed to a woman outside the window, slumped on the curb, head in her hands, her face red and eyes swollen. A crumpled paper cup sat near her feet, nearly empty. A sign written on cardboard leaned against her legs, "Need food for my son." "God bless you." Anna's heart clenched. She glanced around. No one else noticed. No one else cared. "Wait here, okay," she whispered. She went into the kitchen, grabbed a clean plate, and loaded it with a hot pancake, scrambled eggs, and a few strips of bacon, her favorite comfort combo. Then, she added a small apple juice box. It wasn't much, but to that boy, it would be everything. She returned and handed it to him with a napkin. "Here. This is for you." The boy's eyes widened like she'd given him treasure. "Thank you," he whispered, before running out the door and back to his mom, who looked up with tears in her eyes. Anna stood at the window and watched them share the meal, tears pooling in her own eyes. That's when she heard his voice. "Anna. My office. Now." It was Carl Jenkins, the manager. A man whose heart was as cold as the freezer in the back. Anna followed him into his cramped office, where he slammed the door behind her. "You gave out food without charging. Again." His voice was sharp and loud. "He was just a child, Carl. We're not a charity. That plate comes out of our inventory, and that cost comes out of my margins. This isn't the first time you've played Florence Nightingale. But you're fired, Anna. Clean out your locker. You're done." The words hit her like a slap. Just like that, her only source of income, gone. She stood frozen. "You're really firing me for feeding a hungry child?" Carl folded his arms. "Rules are rules. Maybe next time you'll think before playing the hero." Anna didn't argue. There was no use. She packed up her few things, a notepad, a pen, a small photo of her mom, and left. As she stepped outside, she saw the boy and his mother getting up. The mother's eyes met hers. She mouthed, "Thank you," before disappearing down the street with her son. Anna sighed. She had no regrets. Even if it cost her everything, she'd do it again. What she didn't know was that someone else had been watching the entire scene unfold, from a quiet booth in the far corner of the diner. Dressed in a black coat and reading a newspaper, he looked like any other patron. But under the table was a leather briefcase worth more than her monthly rent, and the car idling outside for him was a black Mercedes with tinted windows and a custom license plate that read M. Cole 1. Matthew Cole, CEO of Cole Enterprises, one of the largest restaurant franchise corporations in the state, including ownership of Rosie's Diner. He had come to the location unannounced to observe the ground-level operations, part of his habit of secretly evaluating his properties. What he saw that day stirred something in him that had been dormant for years. The young waitress. Her compassion. The injustice. Matthew had money, power, influence. But when his wife died 3 years ago, he had locked his heart away. People, emotions, they became distractions. But watching Anna, he felt something again. Something he hadn't in a long time. He stepped outside and watched her walk away slowly, her shoulders slumped under the weight of yet another loss. He took a deep breath. She doesn't know who I am, he murmured. But she's about to. He pulled out his phone. Get me HR. I need her full name. And tell Jenkins he's fired. Because for the first time in a long time, Matthew Cole wasn't going to just sign papers and run meetings. He was going to step in. And Anna Whitaker's life was about to change forever. Anna didn't cry until she got home. Not on the bus, not during the slow walk from the stop, not even when she passed the small fruit stand she used to buy bananas from when payday came. But when she closed the door to the tiny apartment she shared with her sick mother and teenage brother, the tears came in waves. She leaned against the wall, her uniform still smelling like syrup and coffee, and slid down to the floor. How do I tell them, she whispered. How do I tell them I lost the job, again? She barely had enough money left for groceries, let alone rent. She had fed that boy, yes. But now, who would feed them? She sat still for a long time, clutching the picture of her family on the counter, when a knock sounded at the door. She wiped her face quickly and opened it, only to find a sharply dressed man in a black suit and tie, holding a folder. Behind him, parked neatly on the curb, was a sleek black car with dark-tinted windows. Are you Anna Whitaker? The man asked, smiling politely. Yes. I am, she answered cautiously. He handed her a card. Thomas Reed. Executive Assistant to Mr. Matthew Cole. CEO of Cole Enterprises. Anna blinked. She had no idea what a man like that would want with a woman like her. Mr. Cole would like to speak with you. Immediately, if possible. I don't understand. He offered a kind smile. I believe it's regarding your termination this afternoon. Her heart pounded. She hadn't told anyone yet. How did this CEO even know? Before she could decline, her mother called out from the back. Sweetheart, who is it? Anna looked back and then forward again. She didn't know what was going on, but if this was a chance, any chance, she had to take it. Okay, she whispered. Just give me 1 minute. 10 minutes later, Anna sat nervously in the back of the car, her hands gripping the strap of her bag. They pulled into the circular driveway of one of the tallest buildings in the city, Cole Tower. She'd only ever seen it in commercials and magazines. They were led to the top floor, where the elevator opened into a private office lined with glass walls, soft lighting, and the kind of calm that made her feel terribly small. And there, standing in front of the skyline, was Matthew Cole himself. He turned around slowly. Handsome in a tailored navy suit, hair neatly styled, and with eyes that had seen success and sorrow in equal measure. But when he looked at her, his voice was warm. Miss Whitaker, he said, stepping forward. I saw what happened today. From start to finish. Anna's heart dropped. You saw. I was sitting in the corner booth. Watching. Listening. She flushed with embarrassment. Sir, I know I broke policy. I didn't mean to, it's just, the boy, he looked so hungry, and his mom. I couldn't ignore it. And you shouldn't have, he said gently. Which is why I want to personally apologize for what happened to you. Anna's eyes widened. You apologize. You're the CEO. I may be a CEO, Miss Whitaker, but I'm not blind. Or heartless. He motioned for her to sit across from him. She did, slowly. I fired your manager the moment I stepped out of that diner, he said calmly. And I came to offer you something else. She stared at him. What could you possibly offer me? He handed her the folder. Inside was a formal letter. It wasn't a job offer. It was a promotion. I'd like you to come work at our headquarters. Not as a waitress, but in our community outreach department. We need someone with empathy. With heart. You've got both. Her hand trembled as she read the salary figure. It was more than she'd ever made in her life. I don't know what to say. He leaned forward. Say yes. Weeks passed, and Anna stepped into her new role like she was born for it. She organized food drives. Partnered with shelters. wrote proposals to help every struggling location feed more families. She even suggested a Meal on Us voucher program for children under 10 in any coal diner. Matthew approved it without blinking. He didn't just approve her ideas, he sought them. And over time, something shifted between them. It started in the late nights when they stayed to finish presentations, and she'd make coffee for both of them. It deepened in the laughter they shared when she called his polished office too quiet and brought in a tiny potted plant to make it breathe. And then one night, when it was raining outside and Anna was about to leave, he stopped her. "Can I walk you to your car?" he asked. She smiled. "In the rain?" He looked down and laughed. "I guess I just needed an excuse to be near you a little longer." Her heart skipped. They didn't kiss that night. But they did the next. And it was everything. Months later, Anna stood on a podium, receiving a company-wide award for outstanding community innovation. Her story had made the rounds, how a poor waitress risked everything to feed a child, and ended up changing an entire company. Matthew watched from the front row, pride written across his face. After the ceremony, he pulled her aside. "You still have the biggest heart in the room," he whispered. "And you," she said, "have the power to make the whole room listen." He reached into his jacket, pulled out a small velvet box, and opened it. Anna gasped. Inside was a delicate ring, simple and beautiful. "Say yes again," Matthew said softly. "Not to a job this time, but to a life. With me." Tears sprang to her eyes as she nodded. "Yes." Closing message for viewers, read out loud. Clapperboard, and that's how a single act of kindness changed a life, and opened the door to love, purpose, and a future neither of them expected. Speech balloon. If this story moved you, please hit the like button and subscribe for more emotional love stories every week. Your support helps us keep telling stories that matter. Sparkling heart.